We start the journey together, but life takes us down many paths. While we all face challenges that push us to grow, many foster kids face these challenges alone. Each year, Treehouse cares for more than 6,000 foster kids. With a passion for education, we help level the playing field. Where others see barriers, we open doors. What we do allows foster kids to have a childhood and a plan for the future. To learn, to play, to heal, to dream. And most importantly, to graduate. Treehouse gives foster kids a childhood and a future.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Treehouse's annual Champions Luncheon. We're coming to you live from the Treehouse store in Seattle and are excited to welcome you today. As we're getting started, please join the chat with your name and, if you'd like, your pronouns, so we can all see who's here today. Thank you to everyone that is already saying hello in the chat. Before we go any further, I am Elaine Eugenio. I use she, her pronouns, and I am personally looking forward to spending the next hour with you. I'm proud to say that I've been a member of the Treehouse Ambassador Board for the last 5 years, interviewing incoming board candidates while serving as on the recruitment committee for the last 4 years. And I also had the pleasure of serving as the event co-chair for the annual Taste for Treehouse event, which is usually held at the end of the summer. Now, enough about me. I'm joined today by my wonderful friend Liz Klein. Hey Liz.
Thanks, Elaine. I see you got the memo on the jumpsuits. Looking good. Like Elaine said, I'm Liz. I also use she, her pronouns, and I'm thrilled to be one of your hosts for Champions. I'll be honest though, I'm a little nervous about this whole live TV thing, but it's been a pretty weird year, and I know that all of you are wonderful, understanding people, right? I thought so. Plus, I'm willing to give anything a try to showcase the amazing youth that partner with Treehouse.
As folks continue to log in and join the stream, we're going to continue with our introductions and take care of a little housekeeping to make sure we're all comfortable with this virtual format. Then we'll move into an interactive land acknowledgement.
Elaine mentioned that she and I have been on the ambassador board together for the past 5 years. I've been involved with Treehouse since 2010. When I was in college, I interned with Treehouse on the development department, and they just couldn't get rid of me after that. By my count, I've been an intern, an ambassador board member, a donation drive host, a store volunteer, and a Champions table captain. Speaking of Champions table captains, thank you so much to our virtual table captains this year. The event wouldn't be possible without you. We're going to start today's luncheon with an acknowledgement that we, in the Treehouse store, are on the traditional land of the Coast Salish people and the Duwamish tribe. We want to thank the Duwamish people for stewarding their land, and we acknowledge that we are guests on this land. We strive to honor the Duwamish tribe, their people, and their land through our work.
Liz, thank you so much. Continuing on that land acknowledgement, we are in the Treehouse store, but folks are tuning in from all over. Let's take an opportunity to hear from everyone about where they're watching from. Please take a second to do your own land acknowledgement in the chat. We want to hear from you, so if you haven't yet joined the chat already, do so now by typing your name and, if you'd like, your pronouns in the white box on your screen next to our faces and clicking join. If you're unsure about the native land that you're currently on, please visit the link on your screen to learn more. This will help us paint a picture of the community that we have with us today. Please take some time following the luncheon to revisit this site and learn more about the history of colonization around you.
Thanks so much to those folks that are already putting their land acknowledgements in the chat. It'll definitely help us to have an active chat today. One thing I miss most about being in the ballroom for in-person Champions Luncheon is the sense of community. Sitting at your table and seeing 1,000+ people who care about youth in foster care is incredibly special. Hopefully, through some thorough chat engagement, we can recreate that feeling of community and kind of make it feel like we're not standing mostly by ourselves in the Treehouse store.
Agreed. There are Treehouse employees waiting to interact and respond to you in the chat. Please go ahead and use the chat throughout the show today to create an empowering community for all of the young people and caregivers that will be sharing. They won't be able to hear the thunderous applause in the ballroom, but they can see all those comments coming through. It's so cool to see all those land acknowledgements coming in. Thank you everyone for sharing. While a land acknowledgement itself is just a few minutes of reflection, we know that the more we bring up the history of racism in our country, the more we are able to take action towards racial equity. Racial equity is a focus of Treehouse's programs, from representation in the staff and leadership, to better serving youth of color, to advancing systems change. Youth in foster care are disproportionately youth of color. Particularly overrepresented are Black and Native youth. We know that as we continue to take equitable action, we can create better outcomes for youth across the state. As we do this work, one of the things we never want to forget is to celebrate the wins along the way. So let's take this chance to celebrate the hard work and perseverance of Treehouse youth.
Graduating is important to me because you've spent so many years working up to get towards that end goal of graduating and to get your high school diploma, and it's really just such a significant achievement in one person's life.
Graduating for me is important because it's the first step of me becoming successful later on in life.
Kind of like a doorway into being a successful adult.
It shows that you were able to work hard and you were able to be diligent and to just write it out and to finish strong.
I'm the first in my family graduating and going to college.
Only one other person in my family has graduated, and I want to be the second one. I find it really something to be proud of.
I felt like I needed to prove to myself that I was able to accomplish something that would dictate my future.
In 10 years, I see myself as a professional mechanic fixing people's cars.
I see myself maybe as a counselor or as a kindergarten teacher.
In 10 years, I see myself probably in the military.
I see myself graduating from Seattle University as an engineering.
Pursuing my dream career of becoming a forensic psychologist.
I see myself being an elementary school teacher. I cannot wait for the day that I get to speak life into my students.
Wow, the amount of joy and enthusiasm that Destiny shows when talking about her future being an elementary school teacher and giving back to her community just makes me smile. I also love those clips from Robert and Tatiana about being the first and second people in their families to graduate from high school.
I'm so impressed by the resilience of these young adults. It's clear that they are motivated and determined. I feel honored to get to share in the excitement of graduation with them. A high school diploma opens up so many doors, and I'm excited to see what these young people do in the future. Speaking of what our recent graduates are up to, we'll get an update from Chris, the first speaker in that video, a little later in the program, so be sure to stay tuned.
That video makes me think of the dramatic impact that Treehouse has on high school graduation rates for youth in foster care. When young people partner with Treehouse, it's a game changer.
It really is. It's one of the things that always brings me back to Treehouse. It's an organization that has a youth-focused, data-driven approach towards graduation equity, and the stats to prove that it works.
You're right that it's youth-focused. At the end of the day, it's Treehouse youth that are blazing their own trails, with partnership from the Treehouse community. We want to take a minute now to acknowledge our corporate sponsors for partnering with us in this journey. Thank you to Microsoft, Symetra, Amazon, KeyBank, Lytle Enterprises, and all of our other event sponsors. They underwrite the cost of this event. More often than not, though, our event sponsors are not only contributing resources, but their employees are volunteering with Treehouse. They're doing things like pioneering a summer career exploration series for young people or working together for policy and legislative change. Thank you to all of our community partners. We also want to acknowledge the elected officials that are here today. Together, we advance policy change in support of youth experiencing foster care.
Last but not least, we want to thank our challenge pool, who are matching both monthly and one-time gifts today. We'll have a chance to do donations at the end of the program, but I know our producers would not be thrilled with me if I didn't mention that this was a fundraiser at least once during the program. Now I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming Treehouse CEO Lisa Chin. Lisa, take it away.
Thank you so much, Elaine and Liz. Thank you. Good afternoon, Treehouse community. Today is indeed a joyous day for Treehouse as we celebrate our youth and our incredible community. But it's also a painful day of mourning as we process the most recent hate crimes that have been perpetrated against mostly Asian women yesterday in Atlanta. It is one more piece of evidence that the historical racism against BIPOC communities is alive. The youth we serve do not have an equal chance to achieve their dreams and succeed in life. It's also part of a growing pandemic of violence against Asian Americans that we cannot stand by and silently observe. As an Asian American CEO and the leader of a multicultural organization with anti-racism at the core of what we do, I come to you today to remind you that we are all partners in the work to heal our community, and as such, it is our duty to stand against hate in all its forms against any group of people. Partnership is always the secret to success. Everyone stands on the shoulders of the people who came before them, whether it's an organization or an individual. And last spring, as the pandemic was just starting, I joined Treehouse as only its second leader in the past 25 years. I had long admired Treehouse and the work done by the incomparable Janice Avery to build this organization. It's been an honor to be part of driving what comes next during a very difficult time for all of us, and especially for our youth. Because Treehouse is more than any one of us. It is a community, and it's going to require all of us to address this crisis and continue moving forward in service to our youth. And at Treehouse, we're very specific about partnering with youth experiencing foster care as they navigate the rigors of education with our support each step of the way. There are other agencies that focus specifically on housing or youth advocacy and a variety of much-needed services. To truly change the system, which is our ultimate goal, we must partner broadly with all of these organizations. We have to be inclusive in sharing our expertise, our point of view, and calling in all others, because only together can we achieve this vision. And within Treehouse, we partner directly with youth as they set goals to graduate from high school and make plans to launch successfully into independence. Our education specialists and coordinators meet with our youth every single week. And these days, they meet virtually through whatever method works best for them, whether that's Zoom or texts or the latest social media app, you name it. On behalf of our youth, we also partner with caregivers, social workers, and teachers to make sure that all of the key people in the lives of our youth are fully engaged in their successes and their futures. It takes every single program Treehouse has to make this possible. And that includes just-in-time funding, which pays for extracurricular activities, music lessons and sports fees, as well as ASB cards, science labs, prom tickets, and even graduation caps and gowns. And that last one is one of our favorites. I'm speaking to you live from the Treehouse store, which is now virtual and statewide for our graduation success and launch success participants during this pandemic. This store makes sure that our youth have the clothing, the toys, and other essentials so that they look good. But equally as important, they feel good about themselves. And through our driver's assistance program, we made more than 1,000 auto insurance payments last year so that our youth could get to work and, when it's not online, get to school. The program also pays for driving permits, driver's licenses, and even driver's education. Thanks to Holiday Magic, more than 4,500 youth statewide received a meaningful gift this past holiday season, just like they did the year before and the year before that, because of Treehouse and everyone who partners with us. This past school year, despite everything working against our youth, 152 high school seniors graduated from high school on time. An additional 39 students continue to engage in our graduation success program for a 5th year of high school. And that's really our secret sauce. We stick with our youth. So these numbers will just continue to increase. And we stick with our youth well into their 20s through our Launch Success program as they work toward a degree or other credential and work toward living wage and stable housing. Our educational advocacy program fills in any gaps that are left by our graduation success program, removing barriers for youth statewide in kindergarten through 12th grade. So across all of our programs, we partnered with an incredible 7,808 children, youth, and young adults in 2020. Just to say that again, that's 7,808 youth and young adults in 2020, thanks to your support. My life's work has always been supporting vulnerable populations. And when we focus on those who have the least advantages, we lift all boats. And in each one of these organizations prior to joining Treehouse, we work to create positive change for youth who are experiencing foster care. Because when the state is your parent, and the state is your educator, and the state is your disciplinarian via the justice system, our youth are at risk of being forgotten by everyone. And the intersection between youth in care and houselessness is staggering, and it is a constant concern for us. Because 40% of houseless youth are or were experiencing foster care. And because of systemic racism, youth of color are disproportionately represented in the foster care system. And here at Treehouse, we are committed to working in community as we design long-term actions toward becoming a multicultural, anti-racist organization. Because no youth should be singled out for a more difficult life just because of the color of their skin. Everyone, every child, every youth deserves a future that they choose for themselves. And Treehouse offers a unique opportunity for all of us to make substantial and sustained population-level change that delivers equity. Because we must support and empower our youth so that by the time they graduate from high school, when their story is really just beginning to be written, that the book isn't closed on any of them. During the past year, I have learned a lot, and I am still learning every day. But I've learned more than anything about the value of human connections through partnership, because witnessing the successes of our youth has so much meaning during this time. And I haven't had the chance to meet many of our youth in person because of the pandemic, but I have met some of them virtually. And one of the youth I've met this way is Leroy. He's now 22, and he's been partnering with Treehouse since he was 10 years old. You may remember Leroy from Champions a few years ago. He inspired everyone with his rousing speech and his beautiful saxophone playing. He's now tutoring children part-time as he studies mathematics and works to become a teacher. And you'll be happy to know that he is still playing that saxophone as often as he can, and that's the instrument that Treehouse purchased for him all of those years ago. Leroy is such an inspiration to me, as are all of our youth. I am absolutely confident that through partnership with you and our youth, we are going to change the world, not just for them, but with them as we incorporate their voices into changing systems that are designed to nourish them and their aspirations, as opposed to caretaking them. So as I join you live from this store, surrounded by all of your generous donations, I am struck by how extraordinarily generous our community is in current times and under these most extraordinary circumstances. We have seen the most incredible acts of kindness and love come through from you. And when you see that people care so much about children that they did not bear themselves, that is humbling and that is inspiring. So as I mentioned earlier, our ultimate goal is change the system so that it truly benefits all youth experiencing foster care. Because we must create a system that cares about all children as much as we care about our own, and as much as we love the people whom we love. Technically, the state steps in to fill the role of parent for youth in foster care, but that makes all of us their parents, and these are our children. The biggest challenge is also our biggest hope and aspiration: change the world and change the system so that youth in foster care have every advantage and not every disadvantage. So regardless of where you live in the state, the challenges are similar. The solution is to evolve the system over time as we rally and inspire and care for our youth in real time and work with other agencies to serve them. So we must all acknowledge what the issues are. And if we agree that every single child deserves to be loved, fed, clothed, educated, and have their dreams supported, then we together will find a way to make that happen. And again, none of this would be possible without the numerous partnerships we rely on with thousands of generous donors, volunteers, organizations, foundations, legislators, caregivers, educators, social workers, and our passionate and dedicated staff at Treehouse. You all come together to make a difference. And we continue to make real progress because nationwide, only about 50% of youth in foster care graduate from high school. But when a student partners with Treehouse and are able to stay engaged through their senior year and beyond, their completion rate is 75%. That is an incredible start, and it's only the beginning. So thank you. Thank you for being here today and for spending time virtually with us, for investing in our vital work, and most importantly, thank you for everything you do to support our youth.
Thank you, Lisa. Thanks for sharing everything Treehouse is doing to work towards graduation equity for youth in foster care. We know that with you and the rest of the Treehouse team leading the way, better outcomes for youth in care will continue. Lisa talked about the Treehouse store becoming a statewide service for graduation success and launch success youth. I think that's incredible. I feel like all of the clothes here are amazing. There's clothes for babies to adults, toys, books, everything is new or like new. It's just one of my favorite parts about Treehouse.
And I love the focus on confidence building. New clothes or an outfit that fits you well can make you feel great. And youth in foster care deserve that feeling so that they too have the confidence to excel socially and in the classroom. One thing that I think about as a parent is how the store has stepped up during the pandemic to make school and life in general from home easier. In my house, we've gone through so many arts and craft supplies, trying to keep my 3-year-old engaged and being creative. The Treehouse store has shipped tons of arts and craft supplies to caregivers across the state this last year. Pens, papers, markers, glitter glue. Did you even know glitter glue was a thing? Because I didn't.
Of course I did, because I have the spirit of a child. What I take from that is how youth and caregiver responsive the store is. If we hear that caregivers need more books featuring characters of color, we'll get it for them. If arts and craft supplies are needed, look no further. Folks need a whole new wardrobe because their teenagers are growing out of all their clothes, we'll ship it to them. The Treehouse store has been supporting youth and caregivers all throughout the pandemic. And even though we haven't been able to accept many general donations in person, the Treehouse community has really stepped up to keep the store stocked by utilizing our online wish list. Let's hear from one of our longtime caregivers, Carla, about how resources have unlocked potential for the youth that she has fostered and adopted.
My family is very energetic, very curious about a lot of things. They have such a joy in life and such an appreciation of family that it's a gift. A lot of kids who come into foster care haven't had the chance to just be kids. They just need a space where they can learn to not be afraid, that they can start to learn to trust the world again. I have been a caregiver for almost 30 years. All of the children that I have fostered and adopted are Native American. It's a huge piece of their identity. If they know who they are, what their culture is, they will have a lot more to give. So a big piece of what I think I do is providing them some emotional and healing space to become awesome people, and then their elders, their community will teach them what that means as Native Americans.
I have not met many people like Carla. She finds so many little ways to make us kids again, you know? We had all these things that were going against us in the start of our life. People like Carla really bring love to children and teach them how to love, and it's wonderful.
I think one of the best parts of this whole journey is witnessing the joy and the happiness that the kids evolve into. And that's what parenting is. And, you know, that's what kids miss who are living in trauma, and what us as foster parents and as caregivers in the community can offer them with Treehouse help. Because as a single parent, to be able to do this for all the kids would be hard. They'd never had swimming lessons. Treehouse helped with swimming lessons. They all wanted gymnastics, so they took gymnastics lessons and got to try that out for a while.
I was a super shy kid growing up. I would start tearing up if people said hello to me. The first ever thing that I did with Treehouse was this art camp. I'd never done drawing. I never really was fond of drawing or painting or anything. I never really knew anything about it, but discovered that I love art and I love expressing myself through art.
Being able to do extra things gives them a chance to interact with other people, to learn new skills, to figure out what their bodies can do, and it builds their confidence in things.
Treehouse is an amazing outlet for children. You get to do all these things, you get to have these new clothes, new experiences. I remember the first time I went to the store, I went straight to like the stuffed animals and the toys, and there was bikes, and I was like, what is all this? Carla just took us around and just, yeah, if there's something you like, grab it. And I was like, what?
I mean, I have no idea how many wheels we got from Treehouse, but it's more than just a kid wanting a new bike. It's a way that I used as a parent for emotional regulation. It's hard for the body to stay all worked up and angry when you're free out there riding. And, that was one of my strategies. And then they laugh and laugh and laugh. And again, it's that joy. It's like their world is just them, where they are at the moment.
What an amazing woman. Thank you, Carla, for sharing with us, opening your heart and your home over the years, and being one of the incredible caregivers that Treehouse has had the pleasure to work with. I'd also like to point out that Carla has been a foster mom for almost 30 years. She's fostered dozens of children and has adopted 8 of them. She brings tireless love and energy to her family every day, and it's hard to express the amount of amazement and respect that I have for her. She's absolutely incredible. To stay connected with youth and caregiver success stories like Carla's and Natalia's all year long, you should follow Treehouse on social media. I do, and it's great content. So pull out the phone that I know is right next to you, or grab the link in the chat and give us a follow.
Every time that Natalia spoke, I couldn't help but smile. She speaks her truth so beautifully. And I loved how much time and effort Carla put into creating an intentional space for identity development and community within her family.
I also love that the kids were able to explore activities like swimming and gymnastics. As Carla said, they help with body awareness and expressing yourself, and young people also learn how to build relationships through activities. Now, let's hear from 3 sisters, Bethany, Winter, and Ari, and how they all work together with Sherry, one of our education specialists.
When I met Miss Bethany, she was high school age, but she was not enrolled in high school. She already had fierce goals. She was already enrolled in a GED completion program at our local community college, and she was working her tail off.
My proudest accomplishment is definitely passing my last GED test, because I had to work really hard to calm myself and be confident in myself that I could pass. Before meeting with Sherry, I had a hard time accomplishing goals without being motivated by anything. She was not judgmental in any way about my past education. I dropped out of school really, really young, when I was about 7th or 8th grade.
Back when I first met Bethany, we talked about the plan for class registration, and we would often pick out those classes kind of collaboratively, and we don't do that anymore. Bethany does all of that on her own. So some of our meetings these days are more like 2 people talking who've just known each other for a long time and like to visit.
Sherry's always happy, bubbly, and always really excited and ready to be a hype man at all times. Or even when I tell her that my week is really bad, or Sherry's always positive and lets me see the bright side.
So not only do I have the honor of getting to meet with Bethany once a week, I also get to meet with 2 of her sisters.
A big goal that I have right now is getting my major in elementary education and going to college.
When I'm most excited to see Sherry is when she makes me feel really good about all the things I've done, and she never leaves me unappreciated.
We tend to help each other a lot with our goals and keep each other motivated.
Treehouse found out long ago that when we direct youth for what they should be doing, then their success is going to be far less than if they're directing themselves. It's not like we're just launching them in a boat and saying, figure it out. We walk them through it all the time. Watch as they really come up with the plans that best work for what they need to do.
Treehouse is a huge resource for foster kids, and it's personally helped me and my sisters a ton.
I feel like they've supported me a lot through my education, and I don't know where I'd be right now if I wasn't supported by Treehouse.
The Graduation Success Program was designed many years ago in order to increase the graduation rate for youth who are in foster care or who have been in foster care. My job is to help with removing barriers for youth in their quest for graduation from high school or a GED credential.
So I think it's really important that there's people like Sherry to be there for us, because there's not a lot of people that are. And I look up to Sherry, and I think that's really inspired me to do a similar job. I think I would want to maybe major in psychology, social work, really just making a goal of something that could make a difference.
Undoubtedly, my favorite part of being an education specialist is the relationships that I get to develop with the kids. Each one of them brings something special and something unique that no other youth brings. I am honored to get to find out what that is. I'm inspired by these kids in a way that's almost impossible to describe, and I'm really the lucky one.
That was such a special opportunity to get a glimpse into what makes Treehouse's Graduation Success Program work. Goal setting, tutoring, and removing barriers are all essential elements to the things that holds them all together, are the relationships. Ooh, excuse me, this is live, guys. Community, we'd love to hear from you. For everyone watching at home, please go ahead and drop the first few words in the chat that come to your mind when reflecting on that video.
Well, for me, it would be wow. Oh my goodness. Wow again. Perseverance and inspired. Was that 3 words?
Not really, but close enough. Thanks to everyone who is sharing those reflections with us in the chat and sending your empowering words of encouragement and appreciation to Bethany, Winter, Ari, and Sherry. Seeing all those comments fly by makes me think of the applause I'm sure those 4 would be getting if we were in person. We're nearing the end of our program, but we have at least one very special guest for you today, one last very special guest for you today. Chris, who is a current Launch Success participant who graduated in June. You might recognize him as the first speaker in the graduation video we watched earlier. Chris, take it away.
Hello, my name is Chris. I'm an actor, a first-year college student, and a young person navigating the world during a pandemic. I am also a Treehouse participant, and I'm proud to be with you today to share a bit about why I think that Treehouse is such a special organization. One of the best things about Treehouse is that they really listen to what young people like me have to say. Treehouse celebrates our potential, our hopes, and our ambitions. Right at this moment, I am achieving my dream to become a professional actor. I started in the performing arts when I was in 3rd grade when I saw my elementary school musical. I just knew that I really wanted to be on stage myself. In 4th grade, I tried out for the school musical. We were doing Seussical. I got cast as a Who, a small but mighty role. I ended up not being able to do the show that year, but it was still nice to get the opportunity to audition and everything. I came back in 5th grade, and my school produced The Jungle Book, and I got the part of Baloo, one of the main characters, which was very exciting. I went from a Who to Baloo in just a year, and I was completely hooked. I met my Treehouse education specialist, Mary, when I was starting in high school, and she really listened to what I wanted for my life. Mary and I met up every single week. It was always good to check in to see how things were going with school. If I was ever slipping a little bit, she always gave me a nudge of encouragement so I could get to the next step. And it was good to have someone tell me every single week that they wanted to see me succeed. There were times when I really needed that encouragement. One of the major ways that Mary and Treehouse supported my dreams was providing me access to opportunities. Community theater programs can be expensive. And thanks to Treehouse, I was able to participate all through high school and to get the experience to perfect my craft. When it came time to think about college, Mary worked with me to apply for scholarships and supported me taking my dream to the next level. I feel grateful for the people in my life who see my potential and support me. My aunt was there for me as well. Even if she was hard on me at times, it was all out of love. She wanted to make sure that I made good choices and went down a good path. Mary was there for me too, making sure I got my schoolwork done and looking out for me. Being in foster care didn't stop me from having the same opportunities and experiences as my friends. Mary even surprised me once when she took me to see Hamilton when it came to Seattle at the Paramount Theater. When I was first getting started with Treehouse, I was really nervous about the future. I didn't think that I would ever end up making it to college, let alone get the most prestigious scholarship at my school. And yet, here I am, talking to you from my dorm room here at the American Musical and Dramatic Academy at New York. This was only possible because I had barriers removed along the way, with me leading the journey the whole time. Today, we are together as the Treehouse community to empower young people like me, who have big dreams and lots of potential. Treehouse accepts and celebrates young people just the way they are, and treats them with respect and dignity. Your support at any level helps Treehouse make sure that every kid who needs support gets it, just like I did. I'm here to tell you that if you can lean in, make a donation right now, your partnership with Treehouse will make all the difference. For kids like me, Treehouse meant so much to me, and you can be a part of that success. Now, the logistics. A group of very generous Treehouse donors have come together to match your donations today. All donations of $300 and above will be doubled, and all donations over $1,000 will be tripled. If you are thinking about a monthly contribution, a donation of $30 a month will be doubled for 1 year, and a gift of $100 a month will be tripled. To give right now, just click the donate button on your page or the link in the chat. You can also text the word champions to the phone number 24587. Again, that is 24587. If you want to make a gift via check or donor advised fund, please mail that to the address on the screen. On behalf of thousands of kids like me each year, thank you so much for your support of Treehouse. It really does make all the difference.
Oh, looks like we're back. I was just doing what Chris asked and making my donation. I went with the mobile giving approach and texted the word Treehouse to 24587. But all of you watching at home can click those donate buttons on your screen. I believe they're located here and here. Whether you're clicking the donate buttons, utilizing mobile giving, or giving via donor advised fund, or sending a check to Treehouse, we thank you for giving at a level that's meaningful to you. Thank you to everyone that's in the process of making a donation. Elaine and I are going to continue chatting with everyone as folks make donations. It's kind of like elevator music, but better. Elaine, are you doing your donation right now? How's it going? Remember, monthly gifts of $30 and up are matched, and one-time gifts of $300 and up are matched as well. If you make a gift of $1,000 or more, or a monthly gift of $100 or more, it'll be tripled.
Oh yeah, I know the deal. It's not my first rodeo. I've been around for 5 years after all. Honestly though, this is a donation that I enjoy making every year. I mean, did you hear Bethany's story? Did you see Carla's little 6-year-old girls with those huge smiles? I want to do everything I can to ensure that our community can empower youth in foster care. I've been thinking about becoming a monthly donor for a while, and now feels like a great time to make that $30 monthly commitment. It'll be matched after all.
Okay, we're seeing the donations coming in. Thank you to everyone that gave in advance of the event and to everyone who's giving right now. Remember, gifts of $300 will be matched and gifts of $1,000 will be tripled. And we don't want to forget about our monthly donors. Monthly gifts can also be matched or double matched too. This is our biggest fundraiser of the year, and we appreciate each of you for leaning in to partner with youth in foster care.
We hope that you'll join me and Liz in making a donation today. It's been quite a year. Champions was one of the first live events that I remember being canceled last year at the start of the pandemic. That feels like forever ago. It is truly wild to realize that it was only a year ago. It is so cool to see those donations coming in right now. If you need any support, please reach out to the Treehouse team and they'll be happy to help you. That number should be on your screen now. We are going to continue watching those donations come in, and remember, you can make a gift that will be matched at any point today, tomorrow, or up until any time the Challenge Pool funds are used. We're so appreciative of that. Thank you, Challenge Pool donors, for doubling or tripling the impact of our donations.
We hope that you'll stay connected with us. You can find Treehouse on social media today and pretty much every day, sharing updates from our youth and staff and celebrating the incredible young people that work with Treehouse. Thank you so much for tuning in and making the time to join us today. We know that it's still a pandemic and everyone has varying giving capacities. Whether you're tuning in for your first Treehouse event or have been a longtime donor, we want to thank you for your continued support of Treehouse. Thank you to our sponsors, to our Challenge Pool members, and to everyone who has taken the time to share this event and the Treehouse story with their networks.
We've had a blast doing this today. We hope that you had a great time as well. Thank you for joining us for Treehouse's Champions Luncheon, and that's a wrap.